Hi, everyone. This is Doopy's Living Room. I am your host, Hannah Doopy, and today I am here with my sister, Jessica. Jessica is 2 years younger than me, and we've lived together for the past 4 years, and that has been quite an experience. Um, but it's been good. It's been fun. There have been ups and downs, but that's what happens when you live with your sister. And I just want to start off this episode with, since it's our first episode, saying if you are watching on video, please let us know in the comments what color you think our couch is.
It's gray.
No, it's not gray.
I'm telling you it's gray.
It is definitely a dark hunter green. And yes, I may be colorblind. I don't know if I am. I don't think I am. But I have always thought that this couch was hunter green ever since we bought it. But everyone else, including Jessica, says that it's gray.
Because it is. When we bought it, the listing literally said color gray. The couch is gray.
Okay, well, it looks hunter green. Maybe on camera it'll look gray or green. I don't know. When I look in the camera now, it looks kind of gray, but I swear looking up close, it is hunter green. So yeah, let us know what your vote is, and hopefully you vote my way, but that's okay if you don't.
This will be the new, what was that thing? Is
Blue.
this dress black and blue or gold and white? This is the 2026 version of that. We're bringing that back.
Right, which that dress was definitely black and blue.
I don't remember.
I remember the first time I saw the picture, it was like white and gold, and then immediately changed to black and blue, and I'm like, this is the craziest thing ever.
I remember, I feel like my instinct is to say that it was black and blue, but also I feel like that was just, you would believe anything on the internet at that time. So
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
it could be anything.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
could have been fake. We don't know.
It could have been fake. Yeah, for sure. I also, before we get started, I want to, in this episode and future episodes that Jessica may appear on, we may call each other a nickname that we have for each other. And I just want to explain that nickname so no one is thinking, why are they so weird and why did they choose such a strange nickname? But we call each other Dickie. And the origin of that nickname is that when we were kids, we had a pet pug, and her name was Zoe. And for some odd reason, one day, I just decided to start calling her Dickie. Can't tell you why, but it just kind of stuck. And so you started calling her Dickie, I think,
I
and
think everyone did.
I think
Our parents, our friends, that was her name.
Right.
It became her new name.
Yep.
Forever.
Everybody called her that. And so over time, Jessica and I just started calling each other Dickie as well. And that
It's a term of endearment.
it is. It's a term of endearment. If we know you in real life and we ever call you Dickie, like that means we love you. I promise. It's not like a bad nickname. But yeah, we always call each other that. Um, and we have different variations of Dickie that we call each other as well. It's just evolved over time. But in college, I told all my friends and sorority sisters about that nickname. And so to this day, people still call me Dickie Dupes, since our last name is Doopy. It's just kind of a nickname that has stuck. So if you ever hear us calling each other that, that's the origin story of that. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I recently saw, and maybe you've seen this too, I noticed that a lot of the people that I follow on social media that are getting married and having kids, they're getting so many more likes on their photos than people who are single and are just posting about going on vacation or getting a new job. And it made me realize that we need to start celebrating our single friends' wins in life more than we do now. Of course, there's nothing wrong with getting married and having kids. That's an important part of life for so many people. But some people don't want that in life, and some people do want it, and it's just simply not their time. So I wanted to talk about that, because you and I are both single. We're both single, and we have been for quite some time. and I'm open to dating. I think for a while you just were focusing on yourself and maybe now you're exploring it, but I just wanted to see if that's something that you have noticed with on social media. And I know likes aren't everything, right? I mean, it's kind of like who cares, but I care because it made me realize that I think some people who are getting married and having kids are kind of forgetting that they may have friends that are single that are still having wins in life and we're just not celebrating them. So have you noticed that?
Honestly, no, because if you know me, I'm not on social media a ton. Um,
True.
and I think I have a few friends who are married. I have very few friends with kids, and I think that you kind of have more friends who are at that stage of life, who are in more long-term relationships or are getting married soon or are married.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different, but I do notice for sure that there is kind of a um, there is a different way that we treat and celebrate people who are having these big milestones in their life, um, that are obviously very important. But I think it can be easy as the single friend to feel like you're not doing it right,
Mm-hmm.
or that you're not that you're behind, that it feels like everybody's doing all these big things, they're in relationships and getting married and having kids and doing all this stuff, which is great. But I also think that there are other people who that kind of makes them feel like they're not, in the same place. And then you're wondering, am I doing something wrong? Or why is my life so different from them? And I think it kind of makes you question sometimes, like, it makes you spiral a little bit more about like where am I in my life? What am I doing with my life?
Yep.
Because you see other people doing these things, or you think back to when you were, I don't know how you felt, but when you were like a teenager
Mm-hmm.
and thinking that like maybe by now you would be at that place in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And now, uh, being 29, I think that I feel very differently than the way that I felt when I was like 20, and thought that, I was going to graduate and get married and do all this stuff. And now that's like really not what I want at all at this time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of weird to think about how you grow and change as you get older, and your feelings change about what you think your life might look like. And then just sort of coming to terms with that and accepting that your life doesn't look like that, or accepting that you have different feelings, or that things have changed and you're kind of like, I'm just vibing. I'm just going with the flow.
Right.
But I do have, big things going on in my life that I would like to share with my friends and talk about, and with my family, and
Yeah.
celebrate those little things that maybe are not getting married and having a kid.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think, like you said, feeling kind of behind in life. Of course, you're going to feel that way if that's something that you do want. Like if you do want to get married and have kids one day, and right now you don't, and your friends do, then yeah, it's totally normal to feel left behind, in life. But also, if you don't want that, I think there is still a little bit of that feeling of, am I behind or am I wrong for not wanting to get married or have kids or get married but not have kids, And I know that's something that you and I both think about a lot. Because we've talked about this before, but you and I both are unsure if we want children, and most days we lean towards not wanting them. And so, at least for me, it's kind of like, am I am I wrong for that, And am I not doing life correctly just because I don't want children? And you can't. It's hard to, you shouldn't compare yourself to your friends or people you see on social media, but of course, you have friends and family members that are saying to you, when are you going to get married? Do you have a boyfriend yet? Are you
Yeah.
are you going to have kids one day? um and you politely say, no, I don't think that I want kids one day. And then of course there's that possible judgment from those people. And I think in this day and age it's getting a little better. A lot of people are not getting married or getting married and not having children. And so it's kind of not becoming the norm, but a little bit more frequent than it was years ago. But it's it's important to remember your single friends' wins. And, whether they're getting a new job or they saved up enough money to go on a vacation to a place they've never been before, or they paid off their student debt, or any debt in general. Um, it's important to remember that they have wins in life too, and their wins may be different than yours, but that doesn't make them any less important than yours. I saw, obviously it's the beginning of 2026 now, but at the end of last year, I saw a lot of videos on social media of groups of friends doing their wins cake. And they had like, yeah, they had like a little toothpick with like a little piece of paper taped to it that had their win on it, and then they stuck it in the cake. And those wins were things like going on vacation. I learned a new hobby. I learned a new language. I went back to school, or I changed careers to something I'm passionate about. And I'll be honest, most of the videos I saw, not a single person said they got married or had kids. And that really sparked this topic because, it's whether you're single or you're married, I think we still forget to celebrate, um,
Little accomplishments.
yes, little accomplishments for sure. And like I said, getting married and having a kid is, of course, a huge accomplishment in life. And if that's your greatest accomplishment, totally fine. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. But that shouldn't be your only big accomplishment in life, right? I mean, like I said, getting a new job or um, learning new hobbies, having new passions, that's so important. And you have to kind of stay true to yourself, especially if you have kids, and I know it's kind of like, Hannah, you don't have kids. What are you talking about? You don't know, but um, it's almost like an identity thing. You don't want your identity to be, I'm someone's mom or I'm someone's wife. You should still be who you are.
Mhm.
Um, and I could go on a whole tangent about that too, but I won't. But I think on top of that, as adults, it's hard to make friends
Yes.
for sure.
Mhm.
And we'll kind of maybe just talk about women here making friends as adults, because I don't know how hard it is for men since I'm not a man. But I think that there's you kind of have to branch out, put yourself out there, just like you would if you're dating and putting yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there and think, okay, how can I make friends as an adult? Um, Especially if you're single and maybe all your friends are married with kids and you want more single friends. Okay, how do I put myself out there? Of course, you're not going to forget about your married friends, but there's ways to make friends as an adult. And, what are some of those ways that you focus on or that you want to do this
Yeah.
year to gain single friends? I mean, do you have any ideas?
So when we moved here a few years ago, I made a lot of my friends through work, which was convenient because many of the people that were starting kind of around the same time were my demographic, women in their mid 20s. So it was kind of nice that there were people that I could kind of connect with easily because they were young women my age who were working in the arts. So we had kind of similar interests, and we would have lunch together at the office. We would hang out. We would see each other at work all the time, and we kind of slowly started to form friendships as a small group, which was very nice to be able to see them all the time. And we would hang out sometimes outside of the office, like have a little girls' night or go out to dinner or something. And now I'm kind of at a point where a lot of those people don't work with me anymore. So it's been a lot harder to stay in touch with them, to see them, to make time for those friendships and to put effort into those. So it's been something that I've been working on recently is to try and reach out to those girls more, plan nights together, offer up things that we can do together to see each other. And I think it's kind of important to remember that you can You can plan both big group get-togethers or like small things. Like I've started to get lunch with one friend, or I'll say, "Do you guys want to get together?" And I'll invite everybody. Like it's not always easy to get everyone together. So you can have lunch or get a coffee or do something with one, two, three people. Like it doesn't always have to be a big group of friends. And while that is very fun, I think it's hard to get everybody together at the same time in the same place. So I think it's important to remember that you can have a small little get together and
Yep.
do those things with just one friend or a few friends. But I will say that something that I have tried to do to make friends is to say yes to things. I have a friend who I work with who invited me to go out on Halloween, and immediately I was like, "Girl, no," because that's not, you know,
That's not normally what you would do.
that's yeah. I don't like to go out late to a club or a bar. Like that's not really my thing. But we had been having a lot of fun at work and having lunch together and talking all the time and saying, we want to hang out, we want to hang out. And I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. I'll put myself out of my comfort zone. It'll be just to see. So I said yes. And we went and we had a great time and I met her roommates and then there were some friends of her roommates who I met there and that was kind of like a way for me to just meet people that I didn't know anything about
Hmm.
and then by association meet other people while we were out, just to be in an environment where there were lots of people my age. And I know that even if maybe that's not your thing, it's a good way to just like break the ice, just get comfortable meeting strangers
Hmm.
and meeting new people.
Yeah.
Just, even if you're a little bit scared like me, like just say yes to things that you think might be a little bit fun. Or if you want to hang out with someone and they ask, say yes, because you never know what could come out of that. And I think it's also if that's not your thing, maybe find a hobby or something. Like if you like to walk, find walking groups.
Hmm.
If you like to dance, go to a dancing class. You can find a book club or like a crafting club or I don't know, fitness club. If you're like a gym girl, you can,
Yeah.
find hobbies where you might find people who have similar interests as you. Um, Try to get over that fear of like striking up a conversation if that's something that's hard for you.
Hmm.
And just talk to people, just meet people, say hello. I mean, you never know. You could meet someone through that person. I think it could really go anywhere. Just trying trying a little bit harder to like put myself out there and meet people and make friends because I hate to say this because this is how I am, but like you're not going to make friends sitting at home on your couch,
Right.
which I love to do.
Right.
I can be very introverted. I love to be at home. I love to, read and watch TV and like hang out by myself. I very much love my own company, but I have noticed like a little bit, especially I think since moving down here and being a little bit farther away from the friends that I had before we moved. It's hard when you don't really know anybody.
Hmm.
And while I do think that it's very important to be comfortable with your own company, it can get kind of lonely a little bit. And so
Yeah.
it's good to branch out every now and then, try to make a friend, and you never know, you could meet people through that friend, even if you just make one friend. I think it's important to have somebody in your life that you can spend time with, share things with, like get to know them and just just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you got to do it.
Yeah, you definitely have to do it. And I think going off of what you said, and I've done this before where I, cancel plans that someone invited me to because the only person that was going to know at the function was the person that invited me. And I think it's important to, like you said, just say yes and just go and meet new people and meet the friends of the friend that invited you, because you never know. You may become really good friends with them too. And also going off of what you said about finding people through a club or whatever your hobbies are, running club, whatever that might be. Um, there may be, if you live in a bigger city, like we do, we live in a big city here in Ohio, and uh, you never know. Check social media or just Google like women's groups, girls groups in that city. I know that some of my friends I met when I moved down here, I happened to see on social media that some random girl in our city had made a girls group where she was going to have events like dinners, brunches, book club, different things, walking groups within that entire group. And there was an app that we all joined, and that's how we found out about the events. And then I made friends that way. Um, and then one of the friends that I made in that group decided to make her own group. And so I made even more friends through that group. And unfortunately, that friend moved away from Ohio, so we don't have it anymore. But I'm still friends with her, and I'm still friends with some of the girls that I met in that group. And I think it's really important to remind yourself that you're not going to be friends with everyone you meet. You know, I through that group, I would reach out to different girls through the app and say, "Hey, do you want to like grab brunch with me?" Or, "Hey, do you want to go to the gym with me?" And I would do that, and then I would realize we don't really vibe very well, or we just don't click as friends, and that's okay. That Don't give up, If you meet someone in your running group and you thought that you were going to be friends with her and then you realize you have nothing in common, or it's just the vibe isn't there, that's okay. Keep going. Keep trying to meet new people. Because that happened to me plenty of times through that girls group that I was in. I went to dinner, I know, with one girl, and she was very nice, but we really had nothing in common. And I just realized, yeah, we're probably not going to be the best of friends, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that um, that she's a bad friend or anything like that. We just didn't click. And so I think it's important to remind yourself that if you don't click right away, it's okay. Just like with dating. I mean, if you go on a date with someone and you realize you don't click, that doesn't mean that you're not going to click with any other person that you see on a dating app or go on a date with. So it's kind of the same with friends. But I just wanted to talk about the importance of making friends as adults. I know, like you said, you like your own space. You like to do your own thing and come home and just decompress and not really be social. I'm the opposite. I go to work and then I come home and I want to go hang out with all my friends. And my social battery definitely is more powerful than yours, but that's okay.
There.
That's okay. I kind of I definitely have to have my time to recharge by myself, but not as much as some other people. And that's something to remind yourself as well. I think you can have friends. You can be friends with someone that you're super social and they're social, but just not as social as you, and they may need time to recharge their social battery. And you just kind of, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I have to remind myself that my friends don't want to see me every single day. Even though I want to hang out with them, they may want to do their own thing, and that's okay. I know a lot of the friends that I have right now I met at the pool at our apartment that we moved into only 6 months ago. And of course, I had friends and sorority sisters here. We have a cousin here in our city that we live in that I was friends with before I moved down here. And so it was nice to know people here. And you lived here before I did. So, of course, I moved down here and I could have you as my roommate and have you as one of my first friends. But it took me a while to meet a group of friends that we could all hang out together. I think before it was kind of like, oh, I have a friend here and there that happened to live in our city. But now I've met a good group of people that happen to all live at our apartment complex, and I met them at the pool, and then we just started going out together and having dinner together. And through those people I have made other friends. So like you said, you just never know who you're going to meet. um you never know who you're going to be best friends with. One of my very, very best friends that lives like 3 hours from us. She was my sorority sister in college, but I met her through a friend at the time that her and I are actually no longer friends with that person. But she and I stayed in touch and we're still best friends and we were roommates for a little bit after I graduated and she was still in school. So you just never know who you're going to meet through the people that you met first. You never know who you're going to become friends with.
Yeah.
So like you said, just have an open mind and say yes to things. And yeah, i I just think it's so important as women to have girlfriends, that you can
Yes.
rely on. um and I am definitely what you would say is a girl's girl. And I think it's so important to be a girl's girl, in my opinion. And not, unfortunately, not every woman is like that, but I think it's so important to support your female friends, support their wins in life. Um, we shouldn't be catty towards each other. We should always be trying to lift each other up, not be jealous of them, support their success, even if their success doesn't look like your success. Or maybe they're in a different place in life than you are and you want to get there, but you're just not there yet. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get your opinion on today and see if you had anything to add to that or.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to do a little bit more, I think figure out what works for your life. If that's planning one social event a week or a couple times a month or just once a month, figure out what works for you. I don't think that you should try and I'm not saying you should force yourself to do a bunch of things that you don't want to do. So even if that's just having one thing per month, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can plan a walk or like a pizza night or have a little craft night, movie night, go to a coffee shop. Like there are so many things that you can do with your friends that I think if you wanted to do something once a week to keep up those relationships and to see those people more often, I think you totally can. There's so many things that you could do. I mean, I'm sure that you could find stuff like on Pinterest or find other people on YouTube who are doing other things. Ask a friend what they might want to do. There are
Mm-hmm.
so many other things that you can do with your life. People might have ideas that you could have a little get together. Just find things that work for you and things that you enjoy that you have fun doing, or just be chill. Invite the girls over, have a little chit chat night. My friends and I, sometimes when we get together, we'll do like snacks. Everyone will bring a little bit of food.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just sit around and have snacks and drinks and talk and just yap at each other for like 3 hours.
For sure.
Like you don't have to plan this whole big thing. It can be very simple.
Yeah.
I think just having community
Mm-hmm.
is really important, especially as an adult, especially if you're, in your early to mid 20s and you have just come out of a situation like college where you can kind of be around your friends all the time, or like even being a teenager. That adjustment, I think, is very hard for a lot of people to come out of that environment where you can hang out with anyone and your friends are around all the time and there's things to do and people to see and you're kind of busy, and then you become an adult and you have your own life and responsibilities, and it can be, I think, a little bit easy to let those relationships go to the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, I mean, we've kind of talked about this a lot, you and I, that it's important as an adult to try and keep up those relationships, have that community, especially with your girlfriends. I think that that is very important to have those, you need that soul sister bond with people
Definitely.
to have, in your life, because being an adult is hard. Like, let's be real. Being an adult is so hard.
It is.
And it's nice to have other people who can relate
Mm-hmm.
or can offer you advice or who can just listen. It's important to have other people in your life and not have all of that like bottled up inside to just deal with on your own.
Right.
That can get really hard. So, yeah. Text your friends. Hang out with your friends. Make a friend.
Make a friend and then check on them, you
Yeah.
know, because I have a few friends that are long distance. They live 2+ hours from me, and we try to make an effort to call each other or just text each other and say, "Hey, I know I've been really busy, but let's FaceTime soon and check up on each other and make sure that
Yeah.
we're
Even a
okay."
call. A text, a call, a FaceTime, anything, you
For
know.
sure. Yeah.
If you can't get together all the time or you can't get together often,
Yeah.
you got a phone probably.
Mhm.
So it's, just make a little bit more of an effort to talk to friends.
Yep. And celebrate their success for
Yep.
sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm so happy that you decided to be my first guest
Yes.
in the first episode. So
Leave a comment
exciting.
if you want to see me again.
Yes, leave a comment if you want to see Jess again. If you want to see our little Dickie again, she is so much fun to talk to and she has so much wisdom. And I hope that you'll join me again soon. If you're watching the video version of this, I'll have all of our socials linked down below. Follow Doopy's Living Room everywhere if you can. And if you're listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. I'll try to link things as well on there and make sure that you stay updated with what's going on. Hopefully we can, or hopefully I can post every single week. I'm gonna figure out a schedule, but thanks for joining our first episode. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.